So in this video, I want to talk about the two types of accounts that you can have whenever you're day trading that you really have to pick essentially. Otherwise, Thinkorswim, TD Ameritrade specifically is going to pick the default for you. So the two types of accounts you have is one called a margin account, which by default is the one that everyone has, and the second one is called a cash account. Now, there's pros and cons on both, but I'll start with the margin account. With the margin account, basically the whole catch to it, if you will, is that you can trade for buying stocks, options, so on and so forth, doing this strategy with this, but you can only take 3 trades per week. Otherwise, you'll be what known as a pattern day trader. Basically, it's just a flag to say you can't trade if you've gone over the 3 trades per week, and maybe you hit that fourth one, then unfortunately you'll be basically blocked from making another day trade until the next 90 days goes by, or the workaway around that to get rid of the flag, or in the first place, so you're not limited. But when you have a margin account, is to have at least $25,000 in your trading account. So if you have $25,000 in your trading account and you still have a margin account, you can make as many trades as you want. So maybe on Monday, you hypothetically want to make, I don't know, 50 trades, you can make 50 trades. If you want to make one, that's fine. There's no PDT, which is a pattern day trader kind of flag that would be your problem. Now, if you don't have that amount of capital in your trading account, in your brokerage account, period, then what you can do, what a lot of my students do, especially early on, since you're still trying to learn things, is set up the other type of account, which is a cash account. Now, a cash account is essentially the way to really frame it up is that you have to trade with the money that you have in your trading account, nothing more, nothing less. So perfect example is that let's say Monday, you basically took a trade, you have $10,000 in your account. If you take a trade and it basically costs $1,000, all you have left in your account to potentially trade with is $9,000 because the cost to take the trade was 1,000, so it's 10,000 minus 1,000, it's 9,000. You take another trade that's maybe $1,500, it subtracts that, so on and so forth, until you get to whatever part you just stop. Now, since we're trading options that you can see on your screen, the way it works is it's basically there's settlement times for the most part that you have to abide by. So since it's options, it's T+1 on options, which long story short only just means that once you used your, say, I don't know, $5,000 on Monday, you don't get your money back to be used until the following day, which is the +1 on Tuesday. If it's stocks, it's actually T+2, which in their little analogy here for stocks anyway, it's like, hey, if it's Monday, which is the original day of the purchase, plus 2 days, then if you're doing stocks anyway, which we do options, you'll get your money on Wednesday. For us, again, we do options. So it'd be maybe you bought something on Monday, but you get your ability to buy everything back or use all of your cash on Tuesday instead. So it's a little bit easier. That's the pro with that. The only con, if you want me to mention a con, I guess, when it comes to using a cash account, is just the fact that you're limited, quote unquote, limited to the amount of money that you have, right? So maybe you took a trade one day with that in your $10,000 account and you used, I don't know, $8,000 basically, but you see another trade, you might not have the ability of the capital to basically buy into it. But in all honesty, when it comes to people and listening to this video, especially when you're starting out, I prefer for most of you to actually go to Thinkorswim and set up a cash account specifically, because once we start, we're going to start slow. We start with like one contract, then maybe move to 5, then move to 10, and so on and so forth. We don't necessarily start large, so we can make sure we can keep track of risk from a risk management perspective. So if you have, long story short, here's my recommendation. If you have $25,000 or more in your account, feel free to go ahead and keep a margin account because there won't be any restrictions. If you have $24,999 or less, I'd prefer more than likely for you to set up a cash account so you can make multiple different trades as much as you want. So hopefully that makes sense. Feel free to pause this and read the further details kind of on this screen as far as kind of commonly asked questions on the Thinkorswim forum here. But that's basically it. Oh, and one last quick thing. In order to actually set up a cash account or to set up a margin account, go back to it, I guess. It's pretty simple. It probably takes maybe 1 minute to 5 minutes max or so. But you need to go to Thinkorswim in the live platform, essentially. Go up to the top right where my mouse is and click the support function right here. This opens up a chat function between you and Thinkorswim. And you can just basically go ahead and create a little quick support request ticket. and just ask them, hey, I'm currently trading with a margin account. Could you help me switch to a cash account, or vice versa? And usually it's just a switch of a button for them. If they have any basic questions, just make sure to ask that, and then it's just pretty easy for them to switch it over. So if you need to switch, go ahead and do that now before we definitely get into live trading.